as soon as we walked in, I didn't really know what to expect. But as soon as we got to the first couple exhibits, it really dawned on me how heavy it was. Like you could just feel the emotion.
It was definitely a very sad experience. I walked in and there was just photos of everything that had taken place. There were descriptions of like specific events that had happened during the Holocaust and just how it kind of snowballed into this big, terrible thing.
Yeah, so I'm actually Jewish, and I've been taught and told about the Holocaust my whole life, and that's even led to me going to multiple Holocaust museums, so like one in Washington, D.C., and then Yad Vashem in Israel itself, just the Holocaust memorial there. And so I definitely wasn't new to any of the difficulties that were going into the museum, but it still strikes you every time. It doesn't get easier to look at it or see the tragedies that happened, and so I think having that experience, maybe I knew what was going on going into it, but still going into a Holocaust museum is incredibly difficult. It's like this darkness kind of overwhelms you almost, and just recognizing what happened.
Just how the chain of events picked up so rapidly, and how there was so much more at play than just evil being spread everywhere. I mean, we learn about the Holocaust as this big, like, awful event, but seeing it step by step in the way that the museum laid it out was really beneficial for me, because it just shows, like, how if history and politics is left unchecked, then things like this can happen.
So they had like 2 prisoner suits that they wore that were just basically pieces of cloth that these people were living in. You don't really are able to put it into perspective until you see, like, holy crap, this is someone's jumpsuit, someone wore this. You know, all those things really put everything into perspective. You see the SS gear, you see the newspapers, and you're like, wow, being able to experience those things firsthand really gives you a better understanding of, you know, how important this is.
Just seeing like these real pieces of history that have such great tragedy attached to them, you know, really difficult to comprehend why someone would do it.
So I think these museums are super important to have. Before this, I've never been to a Holocaust museum before, but in Cambodia I did go to like the killing fields, which dictator Pol Pot killed hundreds of thousands of people. So I kind of understand the significance of genocides like this, and it's important for people to go to these things, because, you know, if we forget history, we're doomed to repeat it. I know it sounds cliche and everybody says it, but it is true. We need to look at these things and remember them, or else we will continue to do them. And I think it's important for it to be free, because, again, going back to the history, it's part of our history. It's hard to look at, but we all need to look at it. And so being able to go into that museum, not pay anything, and then recall the history that happened it's important for us to constantly remember.
Having museums like this and having them be free is really important for the world, because there's really 3 goals that they're trying to accomplish. You know, it's remembrance for those who were killed during the tragedy, and then there was the relevance of it to today. Like, these are still things that are going on in today's world, and as much as it's a historical event and just a tragedy that happened, still there's going to be genocides in the world now. And I mean, we're even looking at what's happening in Syria and places like this where thousands are being murdered and there's refugees and all that. So it's important, it's relevant, you know, so it's showing people what happened in hopes that we can avoid it in the future. And then also it's responsibility, you know. People go here and they're being presented with what happened, and so they're learning what's going on and hopefully coming away with how they can take steps to prevent this from happening again in the future.
pictures of people who are currently experiencing atrocities like this. So they had a lot of pictures of women who were sold into sex slavery in the Middle East. And so it was just super heavy after going through the whole museum and seeing what happened to these people back then and thinking, oh, this can't be going on now, and then seeing current examples of how this is still plaguing the world. So
I think that kind of ties into the relevance. It's all atrocities that are going on, and it's I don't want to use the wrong word, but right that it was followed at the end of it, so that you learned what happened in the Holocaust, and then you learn about these atrocities that are happening still today. Giving a level of responsibility to those who see it to take actions to stop it.